It turns out there's a big debate about privacy versus public safety. A few years ago, there was an iPhone user who was accused by the Federal Bureau of Investigation of planning an attack, and the Federal Bureau of Investigation asked the Apple company to give the iPhone user's information over, and Apple said no. There was no way the FBI could get this information easily without Apple's help. So this provoked a big debate. What was the right to privacy by the phone user versus what was the overriding interest in public safety from law enforcement? And this is a big question we're interested in. In the end, that situation was resolved because the FBI hired a private company to break into the iPhone and get the information out. But the big question that was asked of privacy versus public safety is still very much under discussion. So cryptography comes from the Greek words kryptos, which means secret, and graphia, which means writing. And the goal in cryptography is to make it so that you can have out processes that make it possible to keep information secure. We'll talk about what that means a bit more now. And to do that, there's a common story that is used by cryptographers to illustrate the situation. So we have two people, A and B, and A wants to send a message to B so that B can understand the message, but no one else can. The problem is that there's an eavesdropper, E, who is trying to get in the middle of their communications. The original message that A wants to send is called the plain text. So it might be something like, "Dear Mr. B, thank you." It's a message that anyone could understand or compose. Then A will do what's called encrypting the message, which produces a ciphertext. So this is an important vocabulary word that I want to highlight here. Encryption is turn understandable plain text into a secret ciphertext that should only be able to be understood by the intended recipient. Then A sends this encrypted message. A sent the plain text, then E could obviously read it. So A creates a ciphertext that is secret that then goes to B. And once B gets the message, now it's B's job to decrypt the message to recover the original plain text that A wanted to send. But the eavesdropper also has the message. So if the process is not well designed, it's possible that the eavesdropper can extract the information. We want there to be something that makes it hard for anyone else to get the message, but makes it easy for our intended recipient to get the message. Historically, traditionally, these people have names. So the person who is trying to send the message that I've been calling A, called Alice. The person who's receiving the message that I have been calling B is traditionally called Bob. So Alice is the name of the sender and Bob is the name of the receiver. And the eavesdropper, the person in the middle who's trying to mess things up, is named Eve. So in class, I asked us to think about the different objectives that each of these players has. First of all, what is Alice's goal here? Well, Alice's goal we have somewhat already discussed. Alice's goal is to make sure only Bob can read the message. Then we want to ask what Eve, our adversary, might want to do here. The first is that Eve might want to just read the message, recover it so that she can get the information out of it. Another thing that she might want to do is try to disrupt the message to make sure that Bob doesn't get the message. This second objective doesn't fall as much under the interest of a cryptographer, but it is something that people in general need to think about. We're going to assume that Bob gets the message and Eve also gets it, but if Eve could keep Bob from getting the message, that would certainly be in her interests. And the third thing that Eve might try to do is identity theft. She might want to make Alice think that she is Bob, vice versa, and send a message that is not a message that Alice would want to send. So in the story, we assume that Alice and Bob are friends or like each other, but Eve might want Bob to receive a message that says, "Dear Bob, I hate you." What would be happening there? Those are Eve's possible goals. Now, what is Bob hoping for? Bob actually has two goals. The first is he needs to be able to decipher the message to recover the original plain text from the ciphertext. He needs to decipher or decode the message. He can understand it. The second thing he wants to do is he wants to be sure that the message actually came from Alice. So he's concerned with the message and verifying the authenticity of its sender.